We are taught from a very young age that obstacles are bad. We are taught that the path to success should be smooth, frictionless, and easy. We are sold a cultural narrative that if we just work hard enough, if we just follow the right steps, if we just buy the right course or hire the right coach, the road ahead will clear up and we will glide effortlessly to the top. But then reality hits. When we hit a roadblock, a failed business, a broken relationship, a sudden illness, a lost job, a global pandemic, we react with frustration, anger, and despair. We look at the obstacle and think, why is this happening to me? This is ruining my plans. This is unfair. We view the obstacle as a massive, immovable wall blocking our path to greatness. We stop, we complain, and we wait for someone to come and remove it. But what if we have been looking at it completely wrong? What if the obstacle isn't blocking your path at all? What if the obstacle is the path? 2,000 years ago, on the banks of the Danube River, a Roman emperor sat in his military tent, surrounded by the chaos of war, plague, and betrayal. He was the most powerful man on earth, yet he was entirely at the mercy of forces he could not control. To keep his sanity, he wrote a private journal to himself. In it, he penned a profound insight that would echo through the centuries. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. This single sentence is the foundation of Stoic philosophy, and it is the core premise of Ryan Holiday's modern masterpiece, The Obstacle is the Way. Holiday takes this ancient wisdom and applies it to the lives of history's greatest figures, proving that the people who achieve massive success do not succeed despite their obstacles. They succeed because of them. The obstacle is not a detour. It is the very road you must travel. Today, we are going to dive deep into this transformative framework. We will break down the 3 disciplines of perception, action, and will, and learn exactly how to turn your biggest setbacks into your greatest advantages. To understand how to turn an obstacle into an advantage, you must first master the discipline of perception. Perception is how we see and interpret the world around us. It is the lens through which we view our problems. The fundamental truth of perception is this: events themselves are objective and neutral. They have no inherent meaning. A fire is just a chemical reaction. A firing is just a change in employment status. A breakup is just the end of a relationship. The disaster, the tragedy, the catastrophe, these are not facts. They are opinions. They are the subjective judgments we assign to the facts. And because they are opinions, they are entirely within your control. You cannot always control what happens to you, but you have absolute, dictatorial control over how you perceive it. Consider the story of Thomas Edison. In 1914, when Edison was 67 years old, his massive laboratory complex in West Orange, New Jersey, caught fire. The fire was catastrophic. It was fed by highly flammable chemicals, and it spread with terrifying speed. It destroyed decades of research, prototypes, and records. The financial loss was enormous, estimated at over $20 million in today's money. Edison's son, Charles, was terrified. He ran through the smoke, frantically searching for his father. He finally found him standing in front of the burning building, his face illuminated by the roaring flames, his white hair blowing in the wind. Charles expected his father to be devastated, to collapse in grief, to scream in agony over the loss of his life's work. Instead, Edison looked at him calmly and said, "Go get your mother and all her friends. They will never see a fire like this again." The next morning, as Edison walked through the smoking ruins of his laboratory, he didn't mourn. He looked at the ashes and said, "There is great value in disaster. All our mistakes are burned up. Thank God we can start anew." 3 weeks later, he delivered the first phonograph. Edison's perception of the fire was not that it was a tragic end, but a necessary clearing of the decks. He refused to assign a negative, catastrophic judgment to the event. He controlled his perception, and in doing so, he controlled his reaction. You must do the same. When you face a crisis, you must strip away the emotional panic. You must look at the situation with cold, objective clarity. Ask yourself, What is actually happening here, without my emotional story attached to it? Once you see the obstacle for what it truly is, it loses its power to terrify you. It simply becomes a problem to be solved. This objective perception is what separates the great from the good. Look at John D. Rockefeller during the financial panic of 1857. Rockefeller was just a young man, working as a bookkeeper in Cleveland. The economy collapsed. Banks failed. People were losing their life savings overnight. The streets were filled with panicked citizens, and tragically, some men were so overcome with despair that they threw themselves from windows. The obstacle was a total economic collapse. But Rockefeller didn't panic. He perceived the crisis not as a disaster, but as a massive transfer of wealth. While everyone else was selling in a frenzy, Rockefeller was calmly buying. He acquired assets for pennies on the dollar. He kept his head while everyone else was losing theirs. His objective perception allowed him to see the opportunity hidden inside the catastrophe. When you master your perception, you stop being a victim of circumstance and start being a master of reality. Once you have mastered your perception, you must move to the second discipline, action. But not just any action. The world is full of people who are busy, but not effective. They run around in circles, reacting emotionally to every new crisis, expending massive amounts of energy but achieving nothing. The Stoic approach to action is different. It is directed, persistent, and iterative. It is about doing the right thing, right now, and doing it with relentless focus. It is about attacking the obstacle with everything you have. When you are facing a massive obstacle, the sheer size of it can paralyze you. You look at the mountain and freeze. The solution is to stop looking at the summit and start looking at your feet. Focus entirely on the process, not the outcome. Break the obstacle down into the smallest possible actionable step, and execute it flawlessly. Then take the next step. And the next. Look at the life of Theodore Roosevelt. As a child, Teddy was sickly, severely asthmatic, and physically weak. He suffered from terrifying nighttime asthma attacks where he would sit up in bed, gasping for air, his chest heaving, feeling like he was drowning. He was told he would never amount to much. He faced a massive physical obstacle. He could have accepted his fate. He could have lived a quiet, sheltered life, reading books in his room. Instead, he took action. He didn't just wish to be strong, he attacked his weakness. His father told him, "You have the mind, but you have not the body. You must make your body." So, Teddy started lifting weights. He took up boxing. He went on grueling hikes through the woods. He forced his body to adapt to the stress he was putting it under. He didn't wait for the perfect conditions to act. He acted with whatever he had, right where he was. He transformed his greatest physical weakness into his greatest physical strength, eventually becoming the most robust, energetic, and vigorous president in American history. Action in the face of an obstacle requires persistence and iteration. You will try something, and it will fail. That is not a sign to stop, it is simply data. You adjust your approach, and you try again. You pivot. You find a new angle. The obstacle is like a heavy door. If you push and it doesn't open, you don't just stand there crying about the door. You try pulling it. You try finding a window. You try breaking the wall next to it. Action is about relentless, creative persistence. Consider the story of Howard Schultz, the man who built Starbucks. When Schultz wanted to buy the original Starbucks coffee shops and expand the idea of Italian espresso bars across America, he needed money. He didn't have it. So, he started pitching investors. He walked into meeting after meeting, facing rejection after rejection. He was told his idea was stupid. He was told Americans would never pay $3 for a cup of coffee. He was told he was crazy. In total, Schultz pitched to 242 investors. 217 of them said number 217 times. He faced the obstacle of rejection. But Schultz didn't let the no stop his action. He treated every rejection as a stepping stone. He refined his pitch. He improved his numbers. He kept walking through the doors until he finally got the 25 yes he needed. Action is not about avoiding failure, it is about outlasting it. It is about doing the work, day in and day out, until the obstacle yields. But what happens when you have controlled your perception, and you have taken relentless action, and the obstacle still doesn't move? What happens when the disease is terminal, when the business has truly failed, when the loss is absolute, when the prison door locks behind you and there is no amount of action that can open it? This is where the third and final discipline comes in, will. Will is not just brute force or stubbornness. Will is the inner power that allows us to endure what we cannot change, and to accept it with grace. It is the construction of the inner citadel, the unbreakable fortress of the mind. While perception is about how we see the world, and action is about how we interact with the world, will is about how we sustain ourselves when the world breaks us. Will is the ultimate fallback. It is the fire that keeps burning when everything else has turned to ash. The ultimate expression of will is a concept the Stoics called Amor Fati, which translates to a love of fate. It is not enough to merely bear your burden. It is not enough to just accept what happens to you with gritted teeth. You must love it. You must embrace it. You must look at the worst thing that has ever happened to you and say, "This is exactly what I needed." Consider the life of Abraham Lincoln. If anyone had a right to be bitter, it was Lincoln. He was born in a dirt floor log cabin. He failed in business. He was defeated in his runs for the state legislature, for Congress, for the Senate, and for the vice presidency. He suffered from crushing, debilitating clinical depression that kept him bedridden for months. He lost the love of his early life, and Rutledge, to typhoid fever. And then, as president, he was handed the ultimate obstacle, the American Civil War. The country was tearing itself apart. The death toll was unprecedented. And then, his beloved 11-year-old son, Willie, died of typhoid fever in the White House. Lincoln was plunged into a grief so deep he could barely function. But Lincoln did not let the obstacle destroy him. He channeled his profound grief and his relentless will into the preservation of the Union. He used his suffering to develop a deep, profound empathy for the suffering of the nation. He didn't just endure his fate, he loved it. He took the immense weight of the war and the tragedy of his son's death and forged them into the Gettysburg Address and the Emancipation Proclamation. He turned his personal and national nightmare into the rebirth of a nation. Lincoln's will was unbreakable because he accepted the burden of his fate and carried it with dignity. To build this kind of will, you must practice the premeditation of evils. You must look at the worst-case scenario and accept it before it happens. This is exactly what Admiral James Stockdale did. Stockdale was a Navy pilot who was shot down over North Vietnam in 1965. He was captured and thrown into the infamous Hanoi Hilton prison camp. He would spend the next 8 years as a prisoner of war. He was tortured, beaten, kept in solitary confinement, and subjected to unimaginable psychological abuse. The obstacle was absolute captivity and physical torment. Stockdale survived by using his will and a profound psychological framework that is now known as the Stockdale paradox. He said, "You must never confuse faith that you will prevail in the end, which you can never afford to lose, with the discipline to confront the most brutal facts of your current reality, whatever they might be." Stockdale looked around at the other prisoners. He noticed that the optimists were the ones who died first. The optimists would say, "We will be out by Christmas." Christmas would come and go. Then they would say, "We will be out by Easter." Easter would come and go. Eventually, their hearts would break from the disappointment, and they would die of despair. Stockdale refused to be a blind optimist. He confronted the brutal fact that he might be in that prison for years. He accepted the reality of his captivity. But at the same time, he maintained an unwavering, unbreakable faith that he would ultimately survive and prevail. He used his will to create a secret communication system with his fellow prisoners. He tapped on the walls. He created a code. He organized a resistance. He didn't just survive the obstacle, he mastered it from the inside. He proved that even when your body is imprisoned, your mind can remain entirely free. This is the ultimate secret of the obstacle is the way. The universe is constantly testing you. It is constantly throwing challenges in your path to see if you are truly committed to your growth. Every obstacle is a gift wrapped in sandpaper. It is rough, it is painful, but inside it is the exact lesson, the exact strength, and the exact character you need to reach the next level of your life. If you are facing a difficult person, the obstacle is teaching you patience, diplomacy, and empathy. If you are facing financial ruin, the obstacle is teaching you resourcefulness, humility, and the true value of money. If you are facing a physical illness, the obstacle is teaching you gratitude, the fragility of life, and the importance of health. If you are facing failure, the obstacle is teaching you resilience and showing you exactly what you need to fix. The obstacle is never just an obstacle. It is a teacher. It is a forge. It is burning away your weaknesses and tempering your strengths. As we conclude this deep exploration of the obstacle is the way, remember that you do not get to choose what happens to you. You cannot control the economy, you cannot control the weather, you cannot control the actions of others, and you cannot control the past. But you have absolute, dictatorial control over your perception, your action, and your will. When the wall appears in front of you, do not turn around. Do not sit down and cry. Do not wait for a savior. Look at the wall. Analyze it with cold, objective perception. Find the handholds. Begin to climb with relentless, directed action. Or realize that the wall is meant to be torn down, brick by brick. Or realize that the wall is meant to be walked around. And if the wall is truly immovable, if you are trapped in the Hanoi Hilton of your own life, summon your will. Accept your fate. Love your fate. Find the brutal truth of your reality, maintain your faith, and endure until the gates open. The method doesn't matter. What matters is that you keep moving forward. The obstacle is not a stop sign. It is a stepping stone. It is the very thing that will propel you to the greatness you seek. Thank you for joining this journey into the heart of resilience. If this philosophy resonates with you, if it gives you the courage to face your challenges head-on, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Remember, the obstacle is not in the way. The obstacle is the way. Go forth, master your mind, take relentless action, and turn your greatest trials into your ultimate triumphs. If you enjoyed this book, please let me know in the comments. I'd also love to hear what book you'd like me to summarize next or what type of books you're interested in. Your suggestions help shape this channel, and I'll do my best to bring you the content you want. Thank you for subscribing to Raw Books. Your support means a lot.